What if the man you loved for decades hid a secret so explosive it could shatter your family, ignite a fortune war, and force you to confront betrayals you never imagined? Would you turn the key, or walk away forever? For 30 long years, Elena Marquez had lived by a single, unbreakable rule: never open the blue door. Those words, uttered by her husband Daniel with an uncharacteristic edge of steel in his voice, had lingered in her mind like a shadow she couldn't quite shake. Daniel, the brilliant engineer who designed bridges that seemed to defy gravity and storms alike, was not a man given to dramatics. He planned everything meticulously: vacations, finances, even the weekly grocery lists. Surprises were anathema to him. Yet there was that one command, delivered on a quiet evening in their San Diego home, his eyes distant as if gazing into a storm only he could see. Elena had nodded, promised, and let it go. After all, their life together was steady, practical, filled with the quiet joys of a marriage built on trust and routine. They raised a daughter, Camila, who grew into a determined young woman pursuing her own path in the world. Daniel's work took him across the country, but he always returned to Elena, his anchor. Now, at 55, Elena was a widow. Daniel had passed suddenly, his heart giving out in a way that felt both inevitable and cruelly abrupt. The house, once filled with his patient cadence and the scent of his favorite coffee, now echoed with emptiness. The funeral had been a blur of condolences and casseroles from neighbors, but 2 weeks later, Elena found herself in the polished office of their family attorney, Mr. Harlan, a kindly man with wire-rimmed glasses and a habit of clearing his throat before delivering news. "Mrs. Marquez," he said gently, pushing a small velvet box across the desk, "Daniel left very specific instructions." Elena's hands trembled as she opened it. Inside lay an antique silver key, its weight surprising, its bow engraved with a delicate compass rose that caught the light like a whisper from the past. Beside it was a sealed envelope, addressed in Daniel's precise, architectural handwriting: "My Elena." Her breath caught as she broke the seal. The letter was short, but each word landed like a stone in still water. "My Elena, if you are reading this, I am sorry for the silence I kept. The blue door is yours now. The key opens it. Behind that door is the truth I never found the courage to share, and the life I built for you when I understood how little time I had. Go to the villa. Do not let anyone else open it first." "Villa," Elena echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. The word felt foreign, extravagant, utterly unlike the practical life they had shared. Mr. Harlan nodded, adjusting his glasses. "Your husband purchased and restored a coastal property across the border in Mexico 3 years ago. The title is clean and already in your name. He requested I inform you only after his passing." Elena stared at him, her mind reeling. Daniel hated surprises. Why this? And then, as if sensing her turmoil, Mr. Harlan slid a thin folder forward. "There's another matter. Daniel's siblings have contacted our office. They're asserting that he lacked mental capacity when he repurchased what they claim is a family property. They intend to contest the will." Heat flushed Elena's cheeks, a mix of grief and indignation. Daniel's siblings, Mateo, Lucia, and Rafael, were ghosts from his past, mentioned rarely and always with a shadow in his voice. He had left Mexico as a young man, building his life anew in the States, far from whatever family dramas had driven him away. "Daniel was the clearest mind I've ever known," she said firmly. "He could never be bullied while alive. I won't let them rewrite him now." Back in their home, Elena moved through the rooms like a specter, the key a cold weight in her palm. She found the blue door almost instinctively, as if Daniel's words had planted a map in her subconscious. In the back of his closet, behind stacks of neatly labeled boxes filled with old blueprints and engineering journals, was a narrow panel painted the exact shade of sea blue from his favorite shirt, the one he wore on their weekend walks along the San Diego beaches. Her fingers traced the hidden lock, and the key slid in with a soft, decisive click. The panel swung open to reveal a shallow recess. Inside, A worn leather journal bound with a leather cord, a sleek flash drive, and a printed photograph of a sunlit terrace overlooking the Pacific, white stone walls and glass doors gleaming under a azure sky. On the back of the photo, in Daniel's hand, "The day we met, plus your maiden name. That is the password." Elena pressed her forehead against the cool wood, tears welling. She could hear Daniel's voice in her mind, the patient explanations of structural integrity, the gentle teasing about her love for ocean history books. "Go, Elena. See what I made for you." That night, under the dim light of her bedside lamp, she paged through the journal. It was filled with sketches, architectural plans for a villa, notes on restorations, lists of materials sourced from local Mexican artisans. Interspersed were personal entries, reflections on their life together, regrets about time lost to work, and cryptic mentions of protecting what's mine from the past. The flash drive, she decided, would wait until she reached the villa. She booked a flight and rental car, her heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and dread. The drive south along the coastal highway was a ribbon of silver under the sun, the Pacific crashing against cliffs to her right. With every mile, doubt nipped at her heels. Should she turn back to the safety of San Diego? But her fingers brushed the key in her jacket pocket, a talisman against uncertainty. By late afternoon, she turned onto the narrow road described in the journal. Weathered iron gates barred the way, their bars wrought into curling waves, and at the center hung a crest, a compass rose matching the key's engraving. The lock yielded easily, and beyond stretched a winding drive lined with swaying palms and bougainvillea exploding in pinks and purples. At the top of the rise, the villa emerged like a dream. White stone walls radiant against the blue sky, red-tiled roofs cascading down terrace levels, wide windows framing the endless ocean. This was no abandoned ruin. It was a masterpiece, resurrected with care. The main door opened smoothly, as if welcoming her home. Elena stepped inside and froze. The interior was a love letter to her soul. Shelves lined with weathered maritime journals, rare editions on Pacific explorations she had only dreamed of owning. Antique maps of the California and Baja coasts framed in polished wood. Oil paintings of stormy seas, their waves so vivid she could almost hear the crash. Daniel had never shared her obsession with ocean history. He preferred equations and steel. Yet here was a gallery curated to her passions, each piece whispering of hours he must have spent researching, acquiring, arranging. In the great room, a mahogany desk stood before floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the sea. Upon it, a silver laptop, closed, with a single red hibiscus bloom laid across the lid, her favorite flower from their honeymoon in Hawaii. Her hands shook as she powered it on. The password prompt appeared. She typed, April 16, 1992, the day they met at a coastal engineering conference, where she, a history student waitressing the event, had spilled coffee on his blueprints. Followed by her maiden name, Rivera. The screen bloomed to life, revealing a folder labeled for Elena. Inside, hundreds of files, each dated for a day in the year ahead. She clicked the first. Daniel's face filled the screen, healthy, strong, his eyes alight with that quiet intensity that had steadied her through storms of their own. "Hello, my love. If you're watching this, it means I'm gone, and you found your way here. I knew you would. This villa was my secret, but it was never meant to be hidden from you forever. I only wanted to leave it ready. And there's something else. 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with a heart condition. The doctors gave me time, but not enough. I didn't tell you. I couldn't bear to watch you look at me like a dying man. So instead, I built this place for you. A sanctuary by the sea, filled with the things you love. Use it to heal, to dream, to live beyond me." Elena pressed her fingers to the screen, tears blurring his image. His voice filled the villa like a warm embrace, chasing away the chill of solitude. But then, the rumble of engines shattered the moment. Through the window, 2 black SUVs pulled up the drive. Doors opened, and figures emerged, sharp profiles, confident strides. Even from afar, Elena recognized them from old photos Daniel had shown her once, reluctantly. His siblings. Mateo, the eldest, broad-shouldered with silver-streaked hair, led the way. Raphael, wiry and restless, scanned the surroundings like a hawk. Lucia, poised in a cream jacket, her expression a mask of cool calculation. They approached the door, their knock echoing like a summons. "Elena Marquez," Mateo called, his accent clipped. "We know you're here. We need to discuss the estate." Elena's pulse raced. She opened the laptop again, clicking the second file desperately. Daniel's face reappeared, calm and resolute. "If you're seeing this, then they've come. Don't let them fool you, Elena. They'll spin tales of fairness, of family duty. But remember, our father squandered everything. He drank away our inheritance, sold this villa to strangers. I bought it back with my own money, clean and legal. They have no rightful claim." The pounding grew insistent. "We have legal documents," Lucia's voice rang out. "You can't keep us out forever." Elena swallowed hard, her eyes darting to the desk drawer. Daniel's note had mentioned a folder. She yanked it open, revealing a thick blue file stamped with notary seals, bank records, every page cross-referenced in his handwriting. Proof of purchase, restorations, all legitimate. The banging ceased abruptly, replaced by a measured voice. "Señora Marquez, this is the Policia Municipal. Open the door, please." They had called the authorities. Elena's hands trembled as she unbolted the heavy door. The siblings stood flanked by two uniformed officers. Mateo stepped forward, brandishing a document. "This is a temporary order to inspect the premises as part of a family dispute. Cooperate, or we escalate." Elena's grip tightened on the folder. "Then review these first." Her voice was steadier than she felt. She handed the papers to the officers, who pored over the notarized deed, certified transfers, stamped seals. One looked up at Mateo, impassive. "This appears legitimate. If you wish to contest, do so through civil court. We cannot force entry today." Mateo's composure cracked, a flush rising on his neck. The siblings exchanged sharp glances, then turned back to their vehicles, silhouettes rigid with fury. Elena closed the door, relief flooding her, followed by dread. Daniel was right. They would return. That night, sleep evaded her, the villa's silence broken only by the distant crash of waves. Grief mingled with questions. Why the secrecy? What else had Daniel hidden? Morning brought little solace, just the relentless sun and circling gulls. As she wandered the courtyard, footsteps approached. An older man emerged from the service wing, wiping his hands on a rag. His hair was white at the temples, his posture straight despite his years. "Señora Marquez," he said in accented English, "I am Isidro. I worked here during the restoration. Your husband hired me to manage the grounds." Elena studied him warily, but his eyes held quiet respect. "Did you know Daniel well?" "Well enough," Isidro replied softly. "He was a man in a hurry, racing time. But he cared deeply, for this place and for you." His gaze flicked to the ocean. "He told me, if trouble comes, show you something." He led her to the wine cellar, cool air scented with oak and stone. At the far end, he rolled aside stacked casks, revealing a steel door flush with the wall. Elena's breath caught. "What is this?" "Your husband called it seguridad," Isidro said, producing a key. The door groaned open to stairs descending into darkness. Lights flickered on, illuminating a chamber carved from rock. Walls lined with filing cabinets, maps on corkboards, humming computers. "This," Isidro explained, "is the part Daniel never spoke of. Only to reveal if his family pressed you." Elena approached the maps, fingers tracing coastal outlines dotted with red markings. Notes detailed depths, mineral surveys, extraction methods. "These aren't oil fields," she whispered. "Rare earth deposits." Isidro nodded. "For electronics, military tech. Worth fortunes." Companies searched for years. Daniel's surveys pinpoint the largest beneath these waters. The realization crashed over her. The villa sat atop a treasure. On the desk, a folder labeled "If they come for Elena." Inside, notarized papers extending ownership to offshore mineral rights. Daniel hadn't given her a home. He'd given her an empire. But if the siblings discovered this, the fight would intensify. The next afternoon, gravel crunched under tires. Elena's chest tightened as a rental car appeared at the gates. From it stepped her daughter, Camila, 26, dark hair in a sleek bun, eyes sharp with determination. "Mom," Camila called, voice clipped. "Why didn't you tell me about this place?" Elena hurried forward, embracing her, but Camila stiffened. She gazed at the villa with awe and resentment. "Your uncles contacted me. They said Dad stole this from them, kept it hidden even from us. Doesn't that seem strange? Camila, your father didn't steal anything. He bought it back legally, rebuilt it for us." Camila shook her head. "That's not what they said. They showed documents, offered a settlement, millions. We could pay my loans, invest, live without worry." Elena's stomach knotted. The siblings had poisoned her daughter. "There's something your father left for you." She led Camila to the laptop, opening the file for Camila. Daniel appeared, vibrant. "Mi hija, if you're watching this, I lacked the courage to tell you in person. When I was your age, your uncle's forged papers drained my estate share. They left me nothing. That's why I fled Mexico, built anew. This villa, these rights, are yours and your mother's. Never let them convince you otherwise." Camila sobbed, torn. But that night, Elena saw her phone glow at the gates, Mateo's figure emerging, hand on her shoulder. Her daughter was slipping away. By dawn, Elena resolved to act. Hesitation would cost everything. She summoned Isidro. "Arrange a meeting. Invite Mateo, Lucia, Rafael. Tell them I'm ready to negotiate." Isidro's eyes widened. "Señora, that's dangerous." "Yes," Elena said, sliding the mineral surveys across. "Which is why we'll have a witness." That afternoon, the siblings arrived, exuding confidence. They paused at the stranger, Victoria Chen, tall in a navy suit. "International mining consultant," she introduced. "Mrs. Marquez invited me to verify claims." Mateo smiled thinly. "This is family. Outsiders aren't needed." "On the contrary," Elena said sharply. In the dining hall, Mateo presented their proposal. Divide the estate, villa for her, offshore rights for them. Elena's laugh echoed. "Offshore rights? The worthless waters." She projected Daniel's maps, red dots glowing. "These surveys show billions in rare earths, exactly where you dismissed." Lucia's mask cracked. "You can't prove legitimacy." "Can't I?" Elena slid certificates forward. Victoria confirmed, genuine. Corporations would pay billions, but only to the legal owner, Mrs. Marquez. Silence fell. Then Elena revealed Daniel's evidence of their past fraud, forged deeds, tax evasion. Faces paled. Camila, beside Elena, saw them as predators. The negotiation ended. But Rafael clutched his chest, collapsing. "It's his heart," Camila whispered. Paramedics arrived. Mateo demanded, "Test Camila, she could save him." Elena's resolve hardened. She retrieved Daniel's final envelope, "For Mateo if he returns." Reading aloud, their father had another family in Monterey, potential donors with the genetic marker. Mateo's fury dissolved into hollowness. The siblings shattered, paramedics wheeling Rafael away. Months passed like gentle tides. The villa became Elena's rhythm, waking to ocean hush, painting in Daniel's studio, finding peace. Camila stayed, guilt fading as they shared journals, laughed at quirks. Grief softened to remembrance. The siblings vanished, their greed undone. Elena negotiated with Victoria's firm. Limited extraction, environmental safeguards, a preservation trust. Not greed, stewardship. One evening, Camila brought the laptop. One last video. Daniel's tired eyes shone. My Elena, this wasn't about riches. I gave you freedom, wings. Elena finished her painting, a storm yielding to light. Renewal bloomed. Family wasn't blood, but love, loyalty, guarding hearts. Daniel gave choice, she chose truth. Life reveals true allies. Elena's journey teaches. Family protects, chooses honesty over deceit, leaves love not chains. Secrets hide, but truth breaks through. What would you do in Elena's place? Share thoughts and your location.